Okay, so I kind of just start right back up. So, for me, when I started hearing about reincarnation, it just like it made so much sense. Then I started hearing about, well, yeah, Hindu, Buddhists, and stuff. Like there's other people in other countries that believe in reincarnation. It's just, it's not here. And, there's so much difference in like Eastern philosophy and Western philosophy, and you know the Who, they are part of. They want us to all be one, but if you watch that show Initiation, he even talks about. I've heard about this from other people too, but I mean, when you go all the way back to Atlantis and stuff, and it's about the East and the West and the different philosophies, and it's about the different beings that put their DNA in us to create us. And I think that is kind of, really important right now. Something about with the different DNAs we all have, and it is, really showing clearly how we all have different structures. Like they're being able to target certain groups of people and kill them, but they're using like a certain way that certain people's bodies will process protein and stuff. Like they're so advanced in how they're going after us and stuff. And I just heard that the I'm sure you can't say this word, but the 2020 flu, it was patented. It was patent for, I guess you can look it up. It was patent for a chemical weapon. So is what is, it's just so weird how it is so hard to get people when they don't have that like automatic questioning thing inside their spirit, that they're just so easily being misled and stuff. Just like, and I know I'm meant to talk out about the medical because it's been such a part of my life. I mean, it's weird, like when I really think about it, is because, my mom was in the late 50s. She was 16 and she got pregnant. Her mom was a RN. She was the head nurse of the hospital. Like she was way up there. And she was she would be the one that all the nurses would have to talk to, the doctors would talk to and stuff. Like she was way up there in the nursing thing. And my mom got pregnant. My grandma, she had raised 4 kids by herself because her husband was a womanizer and left her for another woman. And she never remarried or anything. I've talked about, she ended up dying of depression. She had clinical depression. She was considered an alcoholic because she would drink and not eat. Like she'd come home and she would just, my mom would talk about, she would just drink these wine all the time. And she, when my mom got pregnant, she got some pill from the doctor, an abortion pill, and had my mom take it. Well, it didn't work. But I'll tell you, every single issue I've ever had in my life, especially when I've had times where were really super hard emotionally, where I felt like I was falling apart and stuff like that, my mom has blamed everything wrong with me on this abortion pill. So this abortion pill has really haunted her. And I have no idea, what it did to me. When I was a nurse, I heard that the abortion pill is just a big dose of hormones that just makes it not be able to stay in there. But, back then they were using that stuff that was making kids be born with no arms and legs. So, I have no idea what she took or what problems I have. I know, like, any time that my body gets cut into, when they cut into my body, I get horrible nerve damage as part of the you know, I've got nerve damage all, like I can't feel this whole thing right here. And there's parts on my face. I'm not gonna go through every single medical thing that I've ever had, but anyways, I've got weird stuff. So, you know, I don't know. But then, you know, my career, well, when I was really young, I was a hairdresser for a short time, but I did not have the self-esteem for that beat down. Go work. You are going to ruin somebody's life. People go into a hair salon, they want to come out a new, improved version that looks a lot more like a movie star. And when they come out looking like themselves, you didn't understand what they were saying, you know, they get very upset. And I couldn't take that beat down all the time. You know? And it was like, that's right when they started doing the quick hair places where you could run in and get a quick haircut. And I was the one who wanted to hire all the people. So it was not worth it. You know, so, and when I started working, I mean, people are sitting here like wanting $15 an hour. It has nothing to do with how much you make. It has everything to do with how much they charge you. So it doesn't matter what they're paying you. What we need to start doing is demanding lower pay and lower everything, because they are inflating it. We'll give you a raise because we want more of your money, so we're going to raise it. So, and we're going to charge you way more for every single thing. That's what they do. We need it to be lower, not, we're playing their system, we're playing their game. Anyways, so when I started working, I was $1.65 an hour. You know, I was like 15, and then I was 16 or 17, and it was like $2.65. There was a big jump there one year, and it went up like $1.80 or something for minimum wage. And I don't remember what minimum wage would have been, but when I quit having it, maybe like $5 an hour or something. I don't know. That was a long time ago. And after that, though, I started in the medical, working in medical. So, yeah, I saw how big pharma comes into the doctor's offices. I saw what the doctors get. And, you know, there's a reason why they have sold themselves out to Big Pharma. Big Pharma gives them big bucks. They, you know, prescribe this and we'll send you to Tahiti. You, your wife, your whole family. You know, it's like, yeah, it's crazy what goes on. And this was a long time ago. And drug reps, they made the big bucks, man. They made a lot of money to go out there and push these drugs. You know, they're the real drug dealers in the world. They were making a shit ton of money, just like, you know, Scarface, only they were doing it legally. They had every right to do it because the people who were writing the laws were the ones who also are employing them. So then in that, you know, I saw that side of it. Then it was, then when I started getting, I still didn't even know I had scoliosis at this point. When I was working when I was the medical, or when I was the office manager at the internist, then I started having migraines, and I went to a neurologist, and he prescribed me something and said, take this for a few months and then you won't have them. And so I didn't have them for a long time. And then I started having tons and tons of problems with my neck and my head and all that stuff. And then I started getting these really horrible migraines. And that's when I found out I had scoliosis. I think it was when sometime around then. So I was like in my mid-30s probably when I found out. And then they started like treating me, and then they want to do everything prophylactic, like you got to take it ahead of the game. So they put you on all this medicine, like Topamax was a big one. And anybody who went on Topamax loved Topamax because you lost weight without even trying. You just eat normal, but you just kept losing weight. So everybody's like, and then they started marketing Topamax to people who needed to lose weight. But it was for migraines, and something neurological. It could have been something with seizures too. I don't remember all the stuff, but mine was for migraines. And so then they started saying that it does something to your brain. So that's what, in my court case, that's what they tried to use, was like, oh, it wasn't that she has a brain injury. It didn't matter that it just suddenly happened. No, it's this Topamax. It's just coincidental. And it just, went like that. So look how they cover themselves, Like they have things in place to cover themselves. And one of the things too is that people have got to get in their heads is the education system. So that the doctors and the dentists and all this stuff who are being the ones that are giving us information, they're getting the wrong information. The schools that they go to are led for misinformation. They are set up to create a system to kill us. Like, that's how it's set up. I mean, they do the warnings on these drug commercials. And, once they had me on one, then they've always got to give you another. Well, you need this one with that one. You need this one with this one. This one will counteract this one. I mean, they have you like, you've just got, they had me on 18 pills and I was super, super sick. And I got colitis. I couldn't get up. I was so sick. And I had already had a brain injury, and I had already worked in the hospital. I had been in the hall and heard people in the hall secretly talking about another case that happened. And I know, I remember, I'm positive that it was this case where it was the same thing that happened to me. Only I think she died because when there's a hole, if you're not laying flat, when they put a hole in this system, that it puts the fluid through your brain and your eyes and your spine, and it is a enclosed system. And it's like the same kind of thing. If your car wouldn't be running if all of a sudden one of the fluids is all gone. So they drained all the fluid out, and they're supposed to put you flat and seal it so it can start building back up. It's very, very important that you stay flat because it holds the pressure. And they never checked mine. They never even looked, because the doctor that had pushed 6 holes in that were draining all my fluid out within a couple hours, because by the time I got out of recovery, so they drained all my fluid out, and it never passed it on, never told anybody. And I don't even know that they even noticed. I mean, it was such malpractice. It was ridiculous. And then when I found out more about this doctor, who ended up having a horrible end to his life, and I've talked about that before. He ended up, the son, he was trying to do insurance fraud to save his ass, ends up, cutting him up and putting him in a burn pile out in the driveway. So in the whole house was, when the police went in the house, like, you can look up the articles, the house was covered with blood. I think there was bloody parts in the sink, and it was real gross. It was like one of those really sickening scenes. So that's how he ended up. Who knows who all he hurt? I just know he changed my life. But the other woman, I wasn't her nurse. I just remember when it happened. I remember her being wheeled down to ICU and being a big thing. And I'm not sure if she started being going catatonic or something, like not speaking or something. I'm not sure if she went into a coma. But I knew there was some kind of negligence or malpractice or something happened. I wasn't sure what. I wasn't involved. And when something happens, it's like, shut it down. The hospital is there to cover itself. You got nuns walking around the hospital, and people automatically, oh, well, it's the nuns. Oh, yeah, there's probably some good nuns, but also the nuns work for the Vatican. They're the biggest corrupt enterprise, that is out there. So, yeah. It's funny, you can just put on a certain outfit and call yourself a certain word and nobody questions you. So, anyways, when they did that with that other lady, I remember she went to ICU, never saw her again. And I swear I heard that she died or something, but I remember hearing people later talking in the halls, like, about the case. And it was two girls, it must have been her nurses or something, and they were talking about having to go down there and change their records. They were going in and putting in new records after the fact. When I sat in court, I could not believe the stuff they had added in. And what was even crazy was I was sitting there and I kept looking at the date and I kept going, that's not right. That's not when that happened. And when they changed the date, they, I don't know how they did it, if the computer automatically did it or if they just messed up, whoever was doing it. But they, when they went in and changed the records, they changed my age to 2 years older. So they went in and did it after it was already filed. So the lawsuit was already filed and they doctored the records. There was a lot, there's so much corruption that goes on in our judicial system, you guys. It's so sick. So sick. And it's being exposed right now. But, you know, I've seen it firsthand, and it is shameful. In that, you know, how many documentaries have been put out there with these men who have been put in prison who, that they either didn't like the person or they just needed a scapegoat. Like the Charles Manson one. Oh, that one blew my mind. It was like, oh my God, they trumped that guy. They built that guy up into a monster for generations of people. Oh my gosh, the stuff that the controllers have done, oh, it's so crazy. But it does give a soul a lot of different experiences to be able to come in and have. So it hasn't been just lost. But, you know, this is the exposing of the stuff that's gone on. And we do have to see it. We need to see it because we don't want to repeat it. We don't want this to ever happen again. We want a new world. So, with that woman, I'm not sure if she died, but I just know when the fluid comes out, your brain starts to herniate because it's a pressure system. And when they first done the x-rays, that's what was happening to mine. That's what gave me the brain injury. And it was very, very painful. It was the most pain I'd ever experienced in my life. It was beyond anything I could ever. I had all my kids natural, and I thought that was bad pain. And in every single one of them, there was an issue that went on. Where it had to be extreme. I had to have my cervix pulled up over someone's head. I had to, one of them, you know, my first one trying to push out, I couldn't. It took me hours. It was, I think they said it was a 24-hour labor or something. It was hours of me pushing. Like, it was the point where they were screaming at me, you better get her out right now. You better figure it out, girl. And with... another one, let's see, there was another thing too, I think, with my cervix. One had to be pulled over her head. She came out with a smushed down nose. There was another one, I can't remember. Oh, it was something with my cervix too, where they just had to pull it up, like basically pull it up over their head. So yeah, I had some very painful childbirths, and this pain of having your fluid all drained out of your head is beyond comprehension. The pain, it was horrible. And the sounds I could hear my nose whistling. It was weird, like this pressure inside. I really felt like it felt like my head was gonna explode. It was so horrible. And but that killed this part here, because in the x-rays it showed it was like collapsed, like it was smushed down, and it starts like trying to pull down into there, and that's what kills you. I was sitting straight up. Well, I wasn't sitting straight up. I was sitting up because you're supposed to be flat. I was sitting up, but I was bent over with my head between my legs and moaning for days and days. I couldn't lay flat because the pain was so excruciating on the back of my neck where my brain was trying to squish out that, and not a single nurse figured, nobody even looked at my back, nothing for 4 days. The fifth day, they started actually doing something different. And then the sixth day, they released me. As soon as they got it patched, and then they were just like, okay, go home. And I had a 3-story house with a lot of stairs. And walking down the stairs, I could feel my brain. There's no cushion. It's horrible. It's so cringy feeling. It was like when I would give a shot to an old person, these little old ladies, and they come and get these shots, and they had no muscle or anything left. They just had some skin. And you'd put it in, and you'd feel the needle hit their bone. Oh, that's what it reminded me of. Like, you could feel it. Ugh. But that's how it was. Like, every step I would take, I could hear, I could feel my brain. And after that, when I got sicker and sicker and sicker with the medical establishment, they weren't doing anything to help me. They wanted the tests and stuff that I've been through is crazy. And, and then being involved with, because I was a nurse, so the licensing, state and government and the hospital, I don't give a shit if they say they're nonprofit. It's bullshit. And they just have a way of funneling money around. And it's the same thing they do with, one thing I really can't stand, and I feel really bad, about it, because, with kids getting cancer, it makes me sick, but I cannot stand the commercials. It is like they just want us to feel horrible all the time and give money, and all they do is take our money for themselves. They're not doing shit. Go look up what Jackass did for his, and his kid died of cancer. What he did with the money when he started his foundation. Yeah, little Joe bought himself another boat probably so he could get over to the islands. Got to go discreet. So, anyways, I saw the medical establishment from all the different, like in a room full of mirrors. I looked in a lot of different ones of the medical establishment and saw how corrupt it is. And when I went off of those pills, I had, I was super sick. And then I had a brain injury, just got divorced, and, was really shoved in a really hard place in my life. And I had to focus on my health. And that's what really got me, connected with the mind, body, spirit. Like, I really, I know this stuff is real. This isn't nonsense. And, I drank tons of kombucha, trying to build up my, you have to have good bacteria in your stomach to, eat up the food when it comes in to process it and stuff. And then a lot of the medicines they give us, that they kill that. They kill all the good bacteria. A lot of the foods, they tell us to eat the wrong foods to keep us unhealthy. They tell us when to eat. Look at what they're doing to people. They've got all these huge, fat, sick people out there. That they're doing that on purpose. And, don't listen to your body. Even when it comes to this, don't listen to your body when it says it can't breathe. Just think about your fear. So they've done that with all of this, they've got people so sick. But, if you are ready to start focusing on your health, and if your stomach is jacked up, like mine was super jacked up, I started drinking kombucha. I drank so much of it that I started to start making it. Mine is much stronger than the stores, so I don't have to drink near as much of it now. But I'm telling you, if you need to build up your your bacteria. If you're having any stomach problems, if your stomach gassy, bloated, just it doesn't feel like you're digesting, when you go to the bathroom, it's crazy and stuff like that. Kombucha or any kind of fermented, any kind of thing that works on your probiotics. Really focus on your probiotics. One thing is about the yogurt. If you try and use the yogurt as your probiotic, you have to eat a ton. So you better like yogurt. Otherwise, just trying to see about how to get more fermented foods and stuff. But you can look up about how to build your probiotics. But that was, so significant in my health. And it runs in my family too, which, when you start going with the GI and the stuff, or the DNA and our different chemical compounds and stuff, yeah, certain things are going to be in certain family lines. And my family definitely has problems with GI symptoms. And so I'm constantly pushing the kombucha. Like I was like to the point of being the sickest, and I've been able to get myself to, I don't know, the healthiest. Maybe. I feel like I'm really healthy. So, that's super significant. Another thing too, I started exercising when I was really, really young. I got pregnant young, so I started exercising young. I started exercising before that though, because I started walking like 4 miles. It was 8 miles a day, 4 miles in the morning and 4 miles in the evening, because I'd walk to school with my friend when we went to hair school. So I became one of those people who start exercising. That's back when aerobics became a thing and going to aerobics class. So I started exercising all the way back then. And so I've continued to exercise. It's changed throughout the times. But in this extreme exercise stuff has come into, our world. It's a newer thing, and it came in at a time where it's like, I'm not doing that shit anymore. I'm way too old to do that stuff. I'm going to tear my body up more, because there is a lot of stuff that tears up your body. Any, child athlete or whatever will tell you they've got some torn up body shit. And so, to me, some of that stuff, like trying to do these marine, what is that called when they go to boot camp exercise routines? You're tearing yourself up. What is the most important to me is you don't have to like exercise tons a day. It's the consistency. It's getting a routine, figuring out like your diet around like, okay, like start putting it together. How much does my body need to eat? What does it need to eat? How much does it burn and stuff? Like, you've got to come into balance for yourself. That's why you can't listen to other people. You have to do this for yourself. And I'm just saying, as somebody who exercised my whole life, there's so many different people talking about different things. What I have found is that it has so much to do with the consistency. So you do 10 or 15 minutes every day. I would say I do 10 or 15 minutes, like 3 times a day, just sporadically. I just start doing my stretches or whatever, because your body just like it likes it. This morning I was washing my face and I was putting this really hot rag on my face, and I was thinking, oh, my body just likes this. My face likes this. It just feels good. It feels like it's just, that's what I mean, like getting in touch with your body. Like, what does your body need? Get in touch with it. But to me, yeah, it's about consistency. It's and it's about eating right. And to me, the most important thing for me right now in my diet is try and eat the most natural stuff you can get. Get away from their chemicals and their preservatives and all that stuff, because that is what has made so many people sick and addicted. They put chemicals in foods, in certain things. Like they have powders they can sprinkle on stuff. It's not bullshit when they say you can't just eat one. They do that on purpose, because, it is a quick, easy way to get you on a bunch of medicines to control you, to You know, like how many women I have known over time who have gotten into that diet culture, which diet culture really is. I'm going to stress out, I'm going to lose some weight, and then I'm going to just eat, gain it back, and then I'm going to stress out, lose some weight, and they just get into this cycle. That's really, really bad for your body. That's why trying to do something extreme, like I'm just going to go in and lose it real quick, and that's not a lifestyle that you can continue. It's really, I mean, boot camp is what, 6 or 8 weeks? They don't make those people do that for their whole lives. And then people think like, oh, I'm going to go in and do this as my exercise routine. That's hard, and it's hard on your body. It kicks your ass, and I don't think very many people. And one of my daughters is one of those extreme exercisers. And I'm constantly saying, you know, you're going to have it to where your body is going to be expecting that. It's going to rely on it. You're going to have to come right back into balance at some point, because it is all about, you know, what you're doing and what your body is consuming and getting that balance. So yeah, if you are just working yourself to death, and you know, you can eat just, sorry, you can eat regular, you know, amounts, but then all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, I'm going to stop doing this exercise. Your body's going to go wacky. You know, I just think that was, to me, it's like just more, you know, that corporate kind of, you know, destruction of mankind. You know, I don't know that the person who came up with it was that, but that energy was what was driving our society for a long time. So even if somebody wasn't DS, that energy was still there. There was a lot of people that, you know, turned bad because the badness was there. If you get my drift. I'm talking so much. Okay, I'm going to go and do another one because I'm like talk so long on both of these.